I think for all of us, like comics has been a place where we could actually tell the stories we want to tell, and or no DIY thing. And so I'm really excited for you guys to read all of our comics. And so my comics is mostly autobio. That part over there is all of my kind of doodly stuff, because I come from like a zine mini comics background, and is all collected in a book called Blame This on the Boogie, which is about how I escape into musicals and dance to escape from reality, like current events, or like bullying as a child, or like parenthood, or all like the harsh things of normal reality. And so it's autobio about my family too, about growing up Filipino in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then I kind of ventured into my latest graphic novel, which is The Man in the Macintosh Suit, which is an homage to my love of detective comics. And it's about a Filipino migrant worker who comes to San Francisco and is a part of the 1920s Manila Town Filipino community in the 1920s. So it talks about that whole community, and also the politics and the kind of the discrimination and the racism that a lot of Filipinos were dealing with during the 20s, that not a lot of people know about in history, because it's not really taught outside of an ethnic studies program. So I really wanted to pay honor to that community, to that time in history. So thank you for Glory and Jen for curating and coming and inviting me to share my work. Okay, so that
was so my name is Pham, and I've known Rina and Mari and us cartoonists for a very long time. We've been drawing comics since we were little kids, since 2002. Some of these zines that you guys are seeing here, just some of the really cool things is that we made these zines back in the olden days when people were not publishing any of these type of comics, back when it was all superheroes and stuff like that. And so we made these zines, and we would be losing so much money, and nobody liked us, and everyone liked us. My parents were mad because I'm not a doctor engineer. I'm a zinester. So we did it because we just loved doing it, and to this day I still just do it because I love doing it. And the fact that people are actually reading it now is like it's really moving. And it is like such an honor, again, to be here with all the people that I started this with. And we were all here back in the olden days at Ape, a little comic show, selling our little zine. Please buy my zine. Here we are now. I'm so thankful to be even invited to this show, because unlike these amazing artists, I work digitally. Everybody here has these beautiful like pencils and inks, and I'm just like all like, look at my computer. So it's just a gorgeous show. I met with Glory, and she was showing me, like, she was like, this is my vision, and we're gonna do this and this, and I was like, this is gonna be, I don't know, I can't even see this. And then when I came to see this, I was like, this is amazing. It's like better than my wildest dreams. And so I'm really happy to be part of the show. My book that I'm featuring is called Family Style, and it is a memoir about my family's immigration from Vietnam to America, but told through the lens of food, because I love food. It's all food memories of meals that like ties to a moment in my life. I've been writing and doing comics about food for a really long time. You guys can see some of these zines. I have zines called I Like Eating. It's just about restaurants and stuff like that. And just a side note, basically because of food, you guys should try that mushroom truffle spread. It's really good, and that bread is running out. So if you guys don't get in on that before we go, you gotta try that. And that's the only one I featured here, because I'm really proud of it. And it just won an Eisner Award, you guys. A lot of people don't know what that is, so like every every time you say that, you have to tell people like, oh, it's like the Oscars of comic. It's like the kind of comic. But yeah, I'm really proud of it. And I know this show is beautiful and amazing, but one of the things I always think about when I go to a comic art show is that like, I love showing it like this, but comics are meant to be read as a book. Like my final art, this is all beautiful, my final art is this thing, you know, and so I highly encourage y'all, if you guys like the art that you see here, to read the books like this book and this book and this book and this book, because it just is a lot more. So I just want to thank you guys for all coming out. That's me.
And my book is Feeding Ghosts. And actually, Jennifer, put your phone down because we're going to do a little interactive. Because I can guarantee I have the best meet cute of how I ended up in this show. Because Jennifer actually makes an appearance.
Oh!
I did not curate her because I made a camera.
Man, I think it's a good sign that I actually don't remember where in this book this is. I think it means I'm recovering from having made it.
The book's got like 400 pages.
I know. Yeah, so while I try and find this section, my book is basically using the story of my grandmother, who was a journalist in Shanghai, to teach about 100 years of really depressing Chinese history. And that's what I spent the entirety of it doing. Where did that happen? I feel it's like
Right towards the end.
it's like late too. It's around here somewhere.
It is. People love watching people look at books on It's like their favorite thing.
I'm sorry, I just really want to know where.
Jennifer should know what page she's on.
Don't pretend. You couldn't even find
It's your show, it's not my show. You can just tell the story and then they can find it.
Okay, fine. We're just gonna tell the story.
read it.
Do you want to hear dramatic reenactment? No, we don't have to. So basically, I met Jennifer. I walked up to a dock in Seattle, and she was sitting there with another person, and she looked at me and she says,
No, it's like, I think, what kind of Asian are you?
yeah. She said, what Asian mix are you? And so we ended up hanging out on this dock, and at the end of it, we're like, well, shit, should we go fulfill cultural stereotypes and get noodles? And we've now been friends for 11 years, and that's how we met. And I feel like this story is not just a tangent, it's actually really integral to this sense of like when you find your own, and you find people where you have these individual experiences like we were just talking about, and then you realize that they're universal, and that your family is actually not an isolated island, but is part of a larger archipelago. And even just looking at all the work in this show, it's really incredible seeing how many parallels are immediate and obvious. And
You had me at archipelago.
it's a good one. Making a graphic novel is, I think, one of the loneliest, most isolating things you can do, especially if it's nonfiction and forcing you to just wrestle with darkness and mental illness, and you can't change a true story. It's just going to be heavy as just heavy. And so it feels really incredibly powerful and honestly incredibly healing to get to be in something like this where what you make gets to be in community and it gets to bring you closer to other people. So I'm really grateful to all the other artists and to Jennifer for being brazen on a dock all those years ago and the glory, and just thank you all for being here.
That part in your book made me so jealous because I wanted to be on that dock too. I've had that dock moment with so many people.
And we staged a dramatic reenactment because that friend was in town, and so like 12 years later we all met on that same dock and had a fun day. Yeah.
That's hard to follow. I'm MariNaomi. I've been making comics since 1997, February 1997 until March 1997 is when I first made my very first comic. And I'd only been reading them for a few years at that point, so I was like 22, I think, when I made my first comic, so I was a little late bloomer. I was not making them as children. I'm 51, in case you're doing math in your head. Let's see, so we got some old stuff here. I think there's something from 2001 in that case. The Manifesto of the Categorical New Freedom Lady, which was an excerpt from a book, a feminist book called Cunt, A Declaration of Independence, that really affected me. I think the most current thing I have, there is actually some fiction that I've done, and it's just panels without words, that I drew painstakingly with colored pencil. I will never do that again. That was for the second book in the trilogy. The first book was banned in Katy, Texas. Most of my stuff has been no. Coincidentally, I am a California chapter leader of Authors Against Book Bans. If anyone wants to join in that endeavor, please come see me and I'll tell you how. I also run the Cartoonists of Color, Queer Cartoonists, and Disabled Cartoonist databases, which are exactly what they sound like, and it's a place to find people of those identities to make comics if you are so inclined, or to connect with other people like yourself. Whatever, but like comics, yeah. So I also, they printed out a mural that I did. There's like 4 of them in Los Angeles, and one of them's like 150 feet across. It's absolutely insane. I think that was the first and last time I've ever worked with the government to create a piece of art. So that piece of, I'm really proud of it, but like, wow, that was, bureaucracy is very interesting. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, but like, I'm half Japanese, queer, non-binary, make comics, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you.